Welcome to the Emerge Podcast, where Ronnie Doss shares insights regarding life, leadership, and personal development. For more of our resources, visit ronniedoss.com. Now, let's join the podcast.
Hi there, this is Ronnie Doss. My team and I are really excited that you decided to stop by. You know, I've spent the last decade working with individuals from all over the world to help them transform their thinking and enhance their life experience. Not only do I train teams at some of the most successful companies and organizations in the world, I offer coaching programs specifically designed for individuals much like yourself that are committed to increasing productivity and achieving personal goals. I've had powerful mentors along the way that have taught me principles that absolutely shifted how I was living my life, and those principles I want to share with you. My passion is people, and there's nothing more exciting than seeing a life transformed for the better. This is what I've decided to give my life to. So hop over to ronniedoss.com to check out some of the video programs I personally designed to help you build stronger relationships, improve your communication skills, and develop an intentional mindset. I know these resources will assist you in finding a greater sense of purpose, staying focused on what matters, and breaking through old mental barriers. Get ready. This is your time. So, my life started to change at a few different times in my life when there were really this pivotal moments where things started to become very different for me. I think one of the first ones when I married my wife, Jennifer. That was awesome. 14 years ago, I decided that no longer was it going to be about me, that it was going to be about helping to build somebody else up and to take care of them and support them. And now we've got 2 daughters together, and my family, building my family is so important. That's number one priority. The second time that my life changed was when I decided to take full responsibility for my mindset and stop blaming other people, stop blaming where I came from, how I was raised, what I saw, what I didn't see, how much money we had growing up or how much we didn't have. All those things that I was using as an argument to keep me from really staying focused on what I could do with the resources that I did have, and recognizing that I had more than plenty as it pertained to resources to create what it is that I wanted. And so I stopped blaming. The third thing, and really what I want to talk about here very quickly, is that I stopped being engaged in arguments that I didn't need to be in. Right now we have this thing called social media, and it's the thing that I believe everybody tries to use to show either how good their food is at the restaurant they're able to eat at, or how good their marriage is, or how good their life is, and how things are going well. Or people use it to pick arguments to show everybody how right they are and how everybody else is so stupid. People talk about their religion, their political views. They start to narrow down on some specific person or a group of people that they want to hate on. And they use some post to be either passive-aggressive or just nasty altogether and say things that really don't need to be said. You see, when you start reading social media, wondering what the person is like, what their heart is like, what they're focused on, what their stresses are, maybe some of the pain that they have, and you realize that the reason people say what they say is not so much that they're concerned about the topic, it's just that they're expressing something in them that causes them to feel better when they vent, when they share their frustration. Now, please hear me. It's okay to use social media to share some frustration if you're open to feedback and somebody saying, hey, maybe you could think about it this way, or maybe if you looked at it this way, you'd feel a little bit better. But that's not usually what people do. They share their frustration trying to pick an argument or a fight with somebody else that thinks differently, looks differently, talks differently, walks differently, acts differently than they do, and now they've got an enemy. And one of the things that I learned years ago was that I didn't have to create an enemy so that I could feel good about myself overpowering that enemy. Instead of thinking of everyone as an enemy, maybe I think of everyone as a friend. And no matter what they're going through right now, I can encourage and speak life to them and help to lift them, lift their spirits. Because when people feel better, we know they do better. And if 2 people are engaged in an argument, that tells me that both of them need to be right about their side. And as they're fighting, they're trying to prove something. And yet I know that if you show up with the energy that you have something to prove, it's because you're overcompensating for something that you feel like you don't have. You see, when somebody tries to show how smart they are, maybe they're overcompensating for feeling like they're ignorant. Maybe they don't feel qualified or valued, so they do what we call bowing up, and they start to project all their knowledge onto somebody else and act like they have all the answers. And if there's anything that I've learned over the past decade of learning, studying, researching, reading as many books as I could, if there's one thing that I've learned, the more that I learn, the more I realize there's a lot to learn. I got to keep learning. I got to keep a humble heart. I got to stay open. And if I can stay open to the possibilities, then I'm looking for people to lock arms with. I'm looking for people to encourage so that hopefully if I ever need it, they can encourage me. I'm not trying to pick out people that have different opinions than me and fight with them. I'm not trying to get pulled into situations that I could overlook. I'm not trying to get pulled into situations that rob my peace, rob my joy, so that I can turn around and be angry towards my spouse or to my kids. I have people that I am responsible to. I am responsible to myself. Why would I get pulled into an argument that causes me to be stressed? That's killing my body on the inside. Why would I get pulled into that? Don't at some point I have to mature past that and mature past being the kind of person that fights every time it seems like there's a fight that could be had? That's just not me. Now, some people say, well, Ronnie, if you don't stand for anything, you fall for everything. Yeah, that's great. That's a nice country music song quote or whatever that is. But please hear me on this. I think a lot of times what we're standing for is not necessarily the cause itself. What we're standing for is being right, which includes us into some group with other people that believe they're right. And instead of being a seeker, we start being a believer. You know, seekers stand on their own. They keep seeking truth to be better. Believers always group together, acting like they know what they know so well. And the fact of the matter is none of us really know. Maybe we could start standing for one another and encouraging one another, speaking life into one another. And even if someone disagreed with us, we don't have to fight about it and be divisive and want to kill each other because of it. Maybe we figure out that even though we have different perspectives, I could look at things from your perspective, you could look at things from my perspective, and we could figure out how to meet in the middle and create some solution. I think that would probably solve 99% of the world's problems, if not all of them. You see, when we need to be right and we bow up against people and we say this is the way that it is and this is how you are and you're wrong and you don't see it the right way, and we put a lot of hateful, negative energy out there, all that does is fuel more hateful, negative energy. Now, don't get me wrong. When a person does harm to somebody else, then yes, you can get pissed off and you can defend yourself. Of course, you can defend your family. Of course. But I think a lot of times we're getting pulled into things that we just don't need to be pulled into. And we don't see the best version of ourselves. We only see ourselves with this knee-jerk reaction that's based on some of the old programming and some of the old belief systems that we have that we don't even know where it actually came from. We're just allowing our emotions to fuel us into a behavior. And once we behave a certain way, we start saying, yes, this is who I am. And once you believe that you are a certain way, that you are a certain type of person, that gives you permission to act a certain way moving forward. You can justify anything. But I think if you'll continue to stay in the place of seeking out what's possible, seeking out solution, and being kind and encouraging people, not pushing on people, not speaking down to people, not trying to pit or turn people against one another, that's easy to do. That's the easiest thing in the world to do. But it takes a little bit of maturity to go, you know what? I don't want to get pulled into this. I want to help to create some solution. And even if I have to swallow my pride and be a little bit humble and go, hey, I don't have everything figured out, I can present information from that standpoint. Instead of pounding my chest, cocking my gun, pointing it at somebody and go, if you don't believe what I believe, I'll kill you. That may be the highest form of ignorance that there could ever be. And I just don't want to be in that argument. I think there's too much work to do. I believe this planet has been too good to us. It has given us so many resources and such a great way of life that for us to turn against each other and to hate on one another the way that it seems like many people want us to do, I just refuse that. I'm not going to create that space in my life for that. I'm going to look at other people, see the best in them, encourage the best in them. It doesn't matter how much education they have. It doesn't matter who they like, who they don't like. As long as they're not harming someone else, then I'm okay with them. The moment you start to hurt somebody else, I have a problem. But other than that, I don't have to be right about any of it. And from that place of being more neutral, I will infuse creativity into the conversation. And if you're willing to have that kind of conversation, we can grow together. Now, if you aren't the kind of person that wants to have that conversation, then we're probably not going to have a whole lot of conversations anyway. I'll just pull my attention back and I'll put my focus on other things. But I believe the world needs us right now to focus on solutions, not excuses as to why we're not giving our best to one another. You see, excuses always sound best to those that are sharing them. And I've heard that the person that's really good at making up excuses is rarely good at doing anything else. And so now is not the time for us to excuse poor behavior in ourselves. I believe it's time for us to step up, be mature, give the best of ourselves, be kind, compassionate, and loving to our fellow man, because I can promise you right now, the world needs it more than ever. It's the old leadership quote, if not us, who? If not now, when? If not here, where? Now is the time. Thank you guys for being awesome. I appreciate who it is that you are. Check out some of our resources, ronniedoss.com. We have an Emerge virtual event coming up next Friday. That's going to be the 19th. Get registered for that. ronniedoss.com/events. You can find that. It's called Emerge Virtual. You can listen to me for almost a whole day doing different modules and trainings on everything from commitment to communication to belief systems. A whole day. You can do that from the comfort of your home. We'd love for you to be a part of that. It's called our Emerge virtual event. Thank you guys so much for who you are. If you enjoyed this today, please share it. I appreciate who you are. I look forward to talking to you again very soon. Take care.